What's up, guys? This is the Real Quaid here with another gym battle. This is my second battle, a rematch against Sathastola. So he's rocking the same team he was rocking before as I am. So let's just get this thing going here. This one gets kind of long. So it was a nice back and forth. Some things didn't go the way that I would have liked, but overall it was a pretty decent performance. So knowing his team kind of helped me, figure out what I was up against. So, as with last game, he leads with his Latios, trying, I don't know if he expected another Tentacruel lead and an easy knockout, but I wasn't going to fall for that this time. Just go for the Venomoth, so he's going to shock me. It's going to do some awesome damage to Venomoth since he's got the stab on it, and Venomoth is weak to it, but Sash activates, which is what it's there for, so really hoping for a non-miss, which thankfully he does land the hit on it. So Latios is taking a nap, which is going to be nice. Latios is the offensive version of the two twins, so Latios is a lot more defensive, so that's going to help me out now that that's incapacitated. So he makes a nice switch into his Mamoswine here. I actually went for a Quiver Dance, but that's going to become unusable now because he's going to come at me with an Ice Shard next turn for sure. So I should have just raw passed into something else, but wasn't thinking. So he's gonna get a nice free switch and some, a little additional damage here against my Scissor. But I figure it was worth it. If he would have gone for something else, I could have gone for an easy sweep. So I don't regret not dry passing like that. So. He goes for an Endeavor, which is a nice move. If I had Bullet Punched him, it would have sent me down to 1 and I would have been in bad shape. But I was expecting him just to switch, knowing Mamoswine gets maimed by Bullet Punch. So I go for the U-turn, it does good damage. It's going to give me another favorable switch, so I send in my Medicham to clean up here. Now, I had a choice. I almost went for Psycho Cut. The only reason I didn't is because he had a Hydreigon. If he didn't have a Dark type, I would have gone for Psycho Cut for sure, but I didn't want to give him a chance of free switch. So I just played it safe and went for the High Jump Kick, and of course playing it safe ends up meaning that I don't play it safe. I actually miss the High Jump Kick, which is going to come into play later on, so I'm going to switch out my Medicham. I know he's going to Ice Shard me again. No point in keeping him in. I gotta abuse that Choice Scarf as much as I can, because Medicham is gonna maim both of his dragons pretty easily if it comes down to that. So Scissor's gonna tank that pretty nicely, as usual. So he's gonna bring him back and go for his Milotic here. So I tried to finish him off with a Bullet Punch, didn't work out that way. I probably should have U-turned him just to get that bonus damage, expecting a Milotic switch. But didn't turn out that way. Thankfully, my Tentacruel doesn't fear anything that Milotic has to offer, so I'm just going to send him out there. So Scald, especially defensive, resisted, doesn't matter. So we're gonna heal up a little. I think I went for the Toxic Spikes here. We gotta let this catch up. I realize the text speed is a little slow. That's kind of why the action is missing. So he switches into his Mamoswine, because that's gonna nail me with an Earthquake. I did go for the Toxic Spikes here. So I can't remember if I pulled him back or not at this point. I think I just let him fall. I was hoping he was faster, or maybe he was expecting, yeah. I don't know, I think I was hoping that he was expecting a switch and maybe going for an Ice Shard, or hoping that his speed was naturally faster, and I could just finish him with a Skull. It didn't work out that way, so you see this Mamoswine that should be knocked out, just finished off my Tentacruel pretty much in one shot. So I go for my Scissor to finish him off again, or at least a fake finish him off. So he pulls him back, goes for his Milotic again. And then I actually predicted that. So unfortunately, he's got his Marvel scale. Is that the one, or Wonder Scale? I always get the two confused. But so his defense is now increased by 50%. But I went for the U-turn anyway, which is what I should have done the first time. But ended up going for it this time, which is just fine. So I go for my Yanmega, who is going to be able to. I wanted to go for my special attackers. I didn't want to go for my Medicham. Just because I knew Yanmega probably wouldn't be able to finish him off anyway, so that poison's going to tick away. Even though it boosts his defense, it's worth it just because Milotic is, tanky, so we want to get rid of those tanks as much as possible. So he brings him back, goes for Hydreigon. I probably should have expected it and gone for a Bug Buzz, but I don't know why I didn't. Probably would have helped out. I would have been able to one-shot him, I think. It would have been close. But with the stab and the super effective, I think I would have had it. But he ends up being faster than me, which is what I didn't expect. And he ends up knocking me out pretty easily. Which is unfortunate, because the Yanmega would have been able to do some awesome damage. If I had gone for the Bug Buzz, which was what I should have done, I should have expected a switch, but next time. Well, not that there's going to be a next time, but... So I go for my Medicham, I'm going to scare him off with pretty much everything. I can hit him with a super effective, either an Ice Punch or a High Jump Kick. I decided to play it safe, just because I had already missed with one High Jump Kick. So I went for an Ice Punch, which is unfortunate, because Milotic is going to resist this. If I had gone for High Jump Kick, I would have been able to finish him off in 2 shots for sure. Assuming I hit them both, of course. But, now that my Tentacruel is down, it's going to make things a little more difficult since my main Milotic counter is out. But I'll be okay. I go for the, I went for Nidoking, because I know that, from our previous battle, I know that Nidoking can actually take one shot of Milotic's offense, which means he would either heal up, which he does, and in which case he'd be close to full health, but then I'd have 2 free shots on him anyway, or if he would have attacked me the one turn, Nidoking would have just been able to finish off Milotic next turn anyway, so it ended up, it was a safe play, because I know my Nidoking would have been able to survive at least one attack unless he critted me. So he brings him back. Thunderbolt is the obvious play, so he switches to his Mamoswine. Of course, since it's obvious, that means I'm not going to do it. I go for an Earth Power once it catches up here. So Mamoswine is going to fall to this, which is good, because Mamoswine probably would have been able to run through most of my team at this point, but he's outlasted his stay. He's survived longer than he should have after a High Jump Kick miss, so he's finally taken care of. So he goes back to his Milotic. Like I said, Nidoking can take one of Milotic's shots on the chin and doesn't mind it, so I'm going to go for the Thunderbolt. I'm not convinced this will one-shot him. It ends up not, and it's not really that close. But he goes for an Ice Beam. I'm not sure why he didn't go for the Scald there. Maybe trying to get a freeze or something. Expecting a switch, who knows. But Nidoking survives that. He would have survived a Scald, he did last time, so that's not a big deal. Let the poison heal up a little bit, or catch up a little bit. Now at this point, I went for a little bit of trickiness. I thought I could have been able to finish him with an Ice Beam. It was really close. I figured, you know what, if he does switch to a Dragon expecting a Thunderbolt, I want to catch him on it. And it ended up not working out. Thankfully, he used Recovery. If he would have come at me, I would have been in incredible trouble. I would have had just Scissor, I believe, left. Or no, I do have Medicham at this point as well. But I have two choice users would be all I have left, which is not a good situation to be in. Thankfully, like I said, he used Recover, so Nidoking is able to survive, and at this point I can't take any more risks. I just finish him with a Thunderbolt, and he does keep in Milotic, which is good, so Nidoking's going to finish her off there. So we're kind of working our way back, still not in very good shape. Down to two choice users and Nidoking. So he sends out his Staraptor, which I'm a little scared of. Luckily my special attacker was out, so I didn't lose anything really from the Intimidate. So I go for my Venomoth. Forgot I had Venomoth. This is just a free switch. See what he's coming at me with. 1 hit point. It's not really going to do anything anyway. His Latios is still sleeping. So Venomoth has done its job, really. So I go for my Medicham. And remember, Medicham lost a lot of hit points from a missed high jump kick. He actually, I thought he was banded, he's actually scarved, which is very important to know. I wish I would have known that, because it means I basically just threw away my Medicham at that point. I figured I would be able to outspeed him and finish him with an Ice Punch, which it would have been true if he was not holding a Choice Scarf, which sucks. So he kept him in, which I did not understand. He went for a return. If I would have known he would have stayed in, I would have gone for a Bullet Punch. But he kept him in, which really confused me. So I go for the U-turn. At this point, I have to switch to Nidoking, because I don't have anybody left. So even though I really don't want to switch at this point, I have to. So Nidoking's gonna come out. I actually switch back into Scissor, expecting another return, because at this point there's no reason for him not to. So Scissor come back, sure enough, there's the return. Scissor's gonna resist this, fortunately, so he does survive. But now I know that nothing he's gonna do. If he switches, I'm gonna get a free shot on him, otherwise there's no way he's gonna survive this Bullet Punch. So there we go, after a lot of nonsense, Staraptor goes down. So he brings out his Hydreigon, which thanks to Yanmega's little, chump shot earlier in the match, Hydreigon is in range to get one-shotted by a Bullet Punch, which is great. So that's the beauty of Tinted Lens, is even if your opponent thinks they're guessing right, they're really not, because coverage is so great with Tinted Lens, resisted attacks are still neutral. So he brings out his Latios, so I use this opportunity to switch to Nidoking, partially to reset my choice item in case I need to, but also because Nidoking is not going to be able to do anything to Infernape. He's not really going to be able to do anything to Latios either, so I figure if I do get a single turn of attack, which ends up working out, I get an Ice Beam, that's a lot of damage that I don't have to worry about. He actually survives it just barely. He manages to still be asleep, so Nidoking is going to be able to finish him off. Scissor would have been able to finish him off easily with a Bullet Punch anyway. So we're not out of the woods yet, because his last Pokemon is Infernape, and if I were in his situation earlier, I basically would have sent out Infernape much earlier, because Infernape destroys Scissor. He's going to outspeed Nidoking, and Nidoking doesn't have much hit points left at this point. He goes for a close combat. I do not understand that at all. Nidoking resists it. If Nidoking would have survived it, that would have been the game, because he would have finished him with Earth Power easily. But he ends up finishing off Nidoking. But even still, he's got poison, so if he had a Focus Sash, it will be broken with the poison damage that tacks on. He's at -1 defense, so he does resist Bullet Punch, but Scissor is going to get an attack on this. It's still not over yet. This still could go either way. I'm not sure what the natures are. Infernape's defenses aren't great. They're okay, but they're not really stellar. He actually manages to survive it, and he's going to come back with another close combat. He was probably choiced with some item, probably a Scarf, I'm assuming. Because, well, it's hard to say because we didn't really see what kind of damage he did. But Infernape does manage to finish the job. So, good game to Sathastola. Earned your badge there. Some unfortunate misses, but these things will happen. So, as always, I want to thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.